Folsom at 50th, where Stephon Clark activists plan a march here, presumably through the neighborhood, the Fab Forties neighborhood that is home to some of the wealthier citizens of Sacramento. Prior to this, the previous protests have mostly focused on the downtown area. Last year, after the shooting of Stephon Clark, the protests shut down traffic downtown, blocked fans from getting into Sacramento Kings games and the like. And the thought among officials today was that they would once again target the Golden One Center because there's a Sacramento Kings game there tonight. Kings officials erected a fence around the downtown Commons Plaza earlier today, and we're only letting ticket holders in. So this march kind of bubbled up out of nowhere. It was kept secret until about 5 o'clock today, when organizers put out the word that they wanted to meet here in East Sac. I got here at about 5 o'clock, and the parking lot was filling up with police cars. But police officers subsequently moved on. First they moved to the shopping center next door and then down the street. Then they moved into the neighborhoods at East Sac. There were probably about a dozen of them. And then after that, they kind of disappeared from sight, which is the way they typically have operated during these protests. They try to stay out of the way unless they're needed for something, and they try to stay out of sight. So we'll see what happens when this march gets started.
Like this, they put a look on my face like I smell some piss. Never should have eat till it starts to hurt. Then I dust all the smurf off the shirt. Let's get a
Yes, sir. It's going to be the newspaper.
Yeah,
I want to get it. I want to get it and read it.
It'll be in the newspaper. It'll be online on sacbee.com.
Sacbee.com.
And right now this video is live. So,
okay.
But you'll be able to find it again on sacbee.com tomorrow or later tonight.
Actually, I used to work for the Bee.
Really? What'd you do?
I used to work in the department where we put all the papers together.
Oh, yeah? How long ago?
That was in 1993.
Okay, well, you were helping put my stories out then, because I've been there that long. I want to grab a shopping sticker. You can see Trader Joe's employees are directing traffic into this parking lot. This, on the best day, this is one of the most difficult parking lots in Sacramento. You can imagine how this is affecting people's ability to park here.
Were you able to talk to anybody?
Are you just coming out of the store, sir?
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you about this protest? I'm with the Bee. We're on
go ahead.
live broadcast right now. What's your name?
My name is Efren Palmer.
Anthony?
Efren Palmer.
Efren? How do you spell the first name?
Efrain.
And Palmer? Palmer?
Palma.
M-A?
Yes.
So do you shop here regularly?
Yeah, I live right down the street.
Okay, so what do you think? This is a Stephon Clark protest. Did you know this was going on?
I did not know what was going on until I walked here and seen it come in, but I condone everything that they're doing. It's peaceful. There's nothing wild going on, and I think he should have got justice. He got shot about 20 times in the back, and the cops don't even get any time. They don't even get fired. Like, They have to set an example. Like, I never thought it was going to happen in Sacramento. I'm from Los Angeles, so stuff like this kind of happens, and it's just sad to say it's going to keep happening if they don't put their foot down.
So you're familiar with the story, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think the officers should have been charged?
Yeah, I think they should have been charged. I think they should be doing some time or at least gotten fired for this. I actually just graduated from Sacramento State with a sociology degree, and this is one of the things that I kind of want to live for and see. I actually was working downtown at Bennigan's on K Street when they came in and started saying, say his name, Stephon Clark. And, of course, we're going to keep saying his name. We're going to keep putting it on the media until we see some change.
Yeah, we were there, too, that night.
Yeah.
So you don't have any problem with them coming out to this area?
No, I have. It's a public place. It doesn't matter what area of town you are. You can, as long as it's peaceful and they're not starting any problems, I think we should be fine.
Do you think it helps broaden their message by coming out here instead of focusing on downtown as they have in the past?
I think it does help, and I think they should organize them all at the same time. Maybe have one here and downtown and everywhere else. I think they should get more also students involved at Sac State, especially the majors that are psychology or sociology majors, because the only way we're going to make change is if people come out here and step up. I didn't know about it, but, man, I'm going to put my groceries away and come back and support. Yeah, okay. I might as well.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. You guys have a nice day.
You too.
Yeah. Excuse me, guys.
All right, so there's a Trader Joe's shopper who not only supports what they're doing, but who plans to take his groceries home and then come back and join this march.
Can your faith inform your financial values? The short answer, yes. At Thrivent, we help millions of Christians be wise with money with advice.
This crowd is growing slowly but steadily. There's probably 40 or 50 people here so far. I see some of the organizers of these things showing up. As soon as I find Hector with his camera, we can start talking to some more of these folks. There's been no interruption of shopping here at the Trader Joe's. People are still coming and going as they please.
Queremos empezar una conversación.
Tanya.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'll let you.
I asked a few people and they didn't want to tell me who they were, so I would maybe talk to. So you see the people right behind this one with the green hat. Yes. There's a group right there. Yes. There's one with longer braids and then the one with the shorter locks. Mm-hmm. Her with the shorter locks. The red pants. Yeah. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Thanks.
So Tanya, this is Tanya Faison of Black Lives Matter, Sacramento. Tanya, can you tell us why you picked this location, why folks are starting here today?
I think it's important to make a note that we did not pick this location. This is not our event. Not all black folks that organize are Black Lives Matter Sacramento. This is an organized coalition that picked this location. I don't know for sure why they picked it. I haven't asked them personally, but I would assume that it's to make folks uncomfortable, make folks realize that, you know, even though you're in your homes and you're comfortable and you're planted in your house and you've got everything that you need, there's people out here that they've lost their loved ones to police violence, and we're unhappy still. We're still wanting justice and we're still fighting for these families, and to inform folks in this area that may not be informed of what's going on.
So it broadens the message beyond downtown. I mean, you get out into the neighborhoods. And do you think we'll see more of that in other areas?
I don't know what we'll see, because there's a whole bunch of different organizations in Sacramento doing a whole bunch of different things, coming from different angles with different purposes. But I know that in the end, we're all trying to fight for Stephon, and I'm hoping that it does reach a larger audience, so that people know, you know, this is still going on and people are in pain, and we're going to continue to be in pain until we start seeing justice.
Do you think there's any realistic chance that the Attorney General will come to a different conclusion than Anne Marie Schubert did?
I don't know him personally, so I don't know. I've not built a relationship with him, so I don't really know his personality. I would hope that he would do the right thing, but I don't have much faith in this system, but I am going to keep putting pressure, and I also hope that Chief Hahn decides to get rid of these officers because they don't need to be in our streets.
So whatever his decision is, once that's over, will this continue in Sacramento?
I don't know. It just depends on what the people want to do. I mean, I'm really big on following the lead of the people and the energy of the people. And we've got 3 other deaths that happened on our watch after Stephon that happened in Sacramento, and 2 of them were Sac PD. So I imagine that we're going to continue to keep fighting for those people, and we're going to continue to watch what the DA does with all these decisions that she's supposed to be making. But I assume that until we actually see some type of consequences for the actions of these officers, we're going to continue to have to fight.
But, I mean, do you buy the argument that the chief makes that there's nothing he can do until the reports are in, that he can't decide whether the officers acted within policy or not?
I don't buy that argument at all. I think the chief can recommend to fire these officers just off top. He can make that recommendation. I know that there's certain things in the bargaining agreement that he can't use certain words, but he can definitely make a recommendation to the city manager, and the city manager can fire those officers we've got enough investigations already. There's enough to call it at this point. We have everything that we need. Whatever the AG decides to do, it shouldn't impact what the chief decides to do.
Can you tell us what the plan is tomorrow? There was the announcement about taking over the police station. I mean, is that...
We're going to the police station tomorrow at 3 o'clock, yeah.
Is it the parking lot? Are you going to go inside the building? Or
we're just taking up space there. Like I said, we always go with the energy of the people. I was picturing the parking lot, but if people end up wanting to go inside, then we'll follow the people inside. We've done it before, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, y'all look like you're going to do something like that.
Another guy with his child on top of his.
Sure.
Do you mind talking to us a little bit about why you're out here?
Sure. Thank
Hey,
you.
we're with the Sacramento Bee. This is going live on our website right now.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hi.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Dylan.
How do you spell it, Dylan?
Dylan.
What's your last name, Dylan?
Holcomb.
Pardon?
Holcomb.
How do you spell that?
Holcomb.
And who's this?
This is Eloise Holcomb.
Eloise? E-L-O-I-S-E?
Yes, that's right.
How old is Eloise?
She's 4.
And so what are you doing out here?
Well, we live in the community, and when I found out on Twitter that they were going to start here, I wanted to make sure that I was here to see it, and I'm here with some other friends and stuff, just to see like what's happening, basically.
Do you support what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve?
I support any peaceful protest by citizens of Sacramento, so absolutely. I
Do you
mean,
have any problem with them being here in this typically crowded parking lot?
no, not at all. I think if you're going to make a statement, you got to do it in a fairly congested area. This is a very, very congested parking lot, by the way.
I know. And now the street is congested
Yeah.
because they're blocking the traffic.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Eloise. Have a good night. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, the protesters have moved out onto Folsom Boulevard and are blocking traffic in both directions. There are police cars moving in behind them. It looks like they're going to block off traffic to keep it from getting too congested here. They're on both ends of Folsom Boulevard.
That's what we can do as black people, and that's what we do. But that's not why we're here right now. We're here right now for justice for Zoe, for Stephon Alonzo Clark.
Right.
Say his name!
Stephon Clark!
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 Say his name! something. We are strong and mighty in Sacramento. I need y'all to say that again. We are strong and mighty in Sacramento. Can I get an ashe? Ashe! We bigger than what you think we are. We're not here just to make some little noise just for a moment. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than all of us. Everyone here who's in Sacramento knows the disrespect, the outright disrespect, the disgraceful justice system that took place the other day. I don't even want to say her name because she needs to be recalled. Period. The ridiculousness of exploitation, a system that has failed, that continues to fail, that has failed Stephon before he even was in the neighborhood to be chased anyway. It's deeper than that. So they're gonna give you and feed you a narrative that's full of falsehoods, full of just lies. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you got to understand it's deeper than that. You look at the small people popping up in riots in different parts of America, it means something. It's a reason for that. You look at the root cause of that. Understand when and why and how the entire policing system came to be in this country. And understand who's the haves and who's the have-nots, and how all of these policies from years, whether it was from segregation, separate but equal, whether it was from, I hear you police officer, we ain't worried about you right now, we here to turn the fuck up. Say his name!
Stephon Clark!
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 Thank you, family. This megaphone is heavy as hell. And you know I normally don't do this. Yeah, please. The reason why we here is because we are victims of a system of oppression, of economic exploitation, of racial subjugation. We are victims of a system. We are nothing but recipients born into this world as victims of a system. And I know you don't hear this often, East Sacramento. I know you're not hearing the helicopters, aka the ghetto birds, don't come to your neighborhood, East Sacramento. All I see is resources and nice schools in East Sacramento. What I get to see in my neighborhood are pop-ups. A one-off because somebody felt good and gave some money. And maybe some kids can have a better day or a better future, maybe. But this is your norm. This is your Trader Joe's. You get your $2 chuck from there. Look at that. Look at God. I'm just saying, real talk, y'all. We out here in Sacramento because we know the system has failed us. The system has continued to fail us, consistently fails us. And like I said, we're not out here just for a Taco Tuesday. We're not out here just for fun, just to turn up and party because you think it's some sideshow. No, it's bigger than that. It's a lifestyle and a lifetime of people, a legacy of people who have fought, who have bled, who have died, who have been chased by dogs and have been sprayed with fire hoses and have been whipped and have been enchained, and when 14-year-old babies are executed by the state. This is bigger than Stephon. Stephon was nothing more than a catalyst to spark this moment. But y'all don't feel me though. The worst thing they could have ever done was gave this black man right here an education. The worst thing you could have ever done was put a book in front of my face because I'm studious. Look, it's bigger than me.
Okay,
I don't
there's a
make
squad
the moves, I just announce them.
of Sacramento police officers on bicycle who've just ridden into the parking lot. Folsom Boulevard is still shut down because the protesters have walked out into the middle of the street. So from 51st down to 48th or so, the street is closed, but there are police officers monitoring this from the parking lot. One motorcycle officer, several bicycle officers who just went in there. It looks like the marchers have decided to start moving. No, right now they're standing their ground on Folsom, right in the middle of the street.
Where my folks at with the
As usual in these protests, the cops aren't doing anything to move them out of the street. They just stand off at a distance and watch and direct traffic away from the scene so that they don't get a snarl of cars. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 8 bicycle cops at the ready down the street. 9, several police cars, police motorcycles. But these bicycle cops tend to keep their distance unless there's something that requires them to move in. Right now, it's just a peaceful protest. Stops traffic on Folsom. They've got a 2-speaker loudspeaker system that is resting on top of a wheelchair that allows them to move once the march starts. And they've got a series of custom-made bicycles with battery-powered lights to light up the crowd and keep them safe from traffic. So it's pretty well organized.
no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice!
Okay, they're moving down Folsom Boulevard toward the Forties.
No justice!
Straight down the middle of the street.
No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice!
And the police officers on their bicycles and motorcycles are retreating down Folsom as the marchers, I'd say there's about 70 marchers total in this group. They're chanting no justice, no peace as they walk. There are people from the neighborhood standing on lawns watching quietly. I haven't found a single shopper or area resident who has any kind of issue with this. They've all said they understand what it's about and they were supportive. Okay, we're still marching down Folsom. We're approaching the Hilltop Bar, where folks are standing around outside watching. In some of these protest marches last year, the marchers went inside some businesses and chanted, but they haven't made any move to do that here. They seem intent right now on taking over the street, which they've done. So they're approaching 48th Street. hard to say whether they plan to continue down Folsom or they want to turn into the Fab Forties and maybe check out the residential areas. Bicycle cops are on the side streets, circling, trying to keep an eye on what's going on. Looks like there's an ambulance coming up Folsom Boulevard toward 48th Street. No idea what that's about. It's trying to get through. The marchers are walking directly toward it. Now the ambulance is working its way directly into the crowd and through. So there's obviously a call for service somewhere beyond this march.
Whole street, our street, whole street, our street. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. When black people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. You can't stop the revolution. You can't stop the revolution.
Okay, well, I guess we're getting up to 47th Street, and the bicycle officers continue to retreat just like they have at every one of these marches. There's no traffic at all on Folsom. It's all being turned back. Okay, they're going into the neighborhood. They're going down 47th Street directly into the Fab Forties. This is a pretty wealthy enclave here. I see people who are out on their porch watching the march who suddenly took their kids and marched them inside, closed their doors. Now they're looking out the windows. There's unfortunately a car coming down 47th Street toward us. They obviously don't understand what's happening here. It's pretty dark on these streets. Now they are turning around and leaving. Don't see anybody else out on their porches. I see people looking out windows, trying to get an idea of what is going on, but it's a pretty dark street. You can see police lights further down 47th, probably over toward M Street. But right now they're walking through a pretty dark area of 47th Street. This is the neighborhood, of course, where portions of Lady Bird were filmed, and where some of the more influential members of Sacramento live. This is the first time these marches have been in a neighborhood like this. They've kept almost exclusively to the downtown area or South Sacramento areas. But one of the activists told me a little while ago they want to reach out. They want everybody in town to know what they're after. A lot of these houses are dark. A lot of these people don't appear to be home.
Shut it down!
The thing about these marches is they've all been very peaceful, very organized. When they were in the downtown area, occasionally they would go into businesses, jump on tables, demand that patrons say his name, say Stephon Clark to them. And now they've halted right in the middle of 47th Street. We're in the 1300 block. We're going to see if we can get a resident to speak with us. Okay, no problem. You just watching?
Yeah.
Does it worry you at all, or you know what it's about, right? So you're not concerned by it. Oh, of course. Okay, thank you. One of the residents who didn't want to be interviewed or be on camera says that the neighborhood was getting alerts on the next door email system that most of the neighborhoods in town have. They were being told that this march was going to take place, so it was like an early warning for them.
In Sacramento, often live in this city, and they often live in this exact neighborhood. East Sac, we know that you're here, and we know that you hear us. We know that you hear us. We know that you hear us. That's why we chose to come out here to East Sacramento today. That's why we chose not to go to downtown today. We don't want the game at the arena. We've done that. We don't want to be outside the DA's office. We talked to her. We wanted to come to East Sacramento to wake some of y'all up. Because you don't seem to hear us when we sit on 24th and Florida. You don't seem to hear us when we sit in Oak Park. You don't seem to hear us when we sit in South Sac, so we just thought we'd bring the message over to you. So we want to take a couple of moments while we're here to just hear from folks, to just do a couple more chants, to make sure that East Sacramento is awake, that you hear what we have to say today. Say his name! Say his name!
Stephon Clark!
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 I say.
At this moment, we're going to keep it going. But before we do, all of those who are in solidarity right now in this moment, we want you to come behind this speaking sound system right here. Stand right here, every one of y'all. Y'all stay in the whole...
Okay, so that speaker made it clear. They didn't feel their message was getting across by doing the same old protests that they did last year, where they went to block the Kings game access, where they blocked access to the district attorney's office instead. They've begun to implement an entirely new strategy of protest. First was going to the police station Saturday. Then on Sunday, there was a sit-in at Arden Fair Mall, the largest shopping center in the city, that led to the management shutting the shopping center down. And now, here on the third straight day of protests, they've chosen one of the wealthiest neighborhoods to march through and try and draw attention to what they want. They want the officers who shot Stephon Clark charged. They want a change in policing procedures. They want people not to be shot by police any longer. So tomorrow there's a plan to go back to the police station. They may try to go inside. We'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, they've hatched an entirely new series of strategies to gain attention to their cause, and they're marching down a pretty quiet street, but they've got a lot of media attention here from Sacramento and from outside Sacramento. There are a number of cameras and reporters dutifully marching down the Fab Forties streets. It's a typical residential neighborhood. I can smell someone barbecuing tri-tip or something. So people are going about their daily lives apparently without any concerns about this. There's a group of bicycle cops up here at M Street and 47th. M is a main drag through this neighborhood. We'll see if the marchers turn toward downtown or continue on. If they go straight, they're going to end up over on J Street, which of course will be a traffic nightmare. Okay, they're turning down M Street.
Everything you want to the bus, to the left, in the closet.
So they're heading west on M Street. If they stay on this, it'll take them straight into Midtown.
Slow it down, y'all. All right, we got new ears. Get ready. We need to wake
They're using a different series of speakers every few minutes. The bicycle cops are dutifully retreating, heading down M Street. Motorcycle cops are zipping about, making sure there's no traffic. There's no cars out here. There's one helicopter overhead. I think it's a news crew. I haven't seen any evidence of a police helicopter or sheriff's helicopter. And of course, once again, these people are protesting the shooting almost 1 year ago of Stephon Clark, who was an unarmed 22-year-old man, black man, who was killed in the backyard of his grandparents' home. The police have said they thought he was carrying a gun. Turned out he only had a cell phone. They fired 20 shots, at least 6 shots hit him, and he was killed. And since his death, there have been protests constantly. Most of them have been small in recent months, but the district attorney's decision on Saturday not to file charges against the officers has spawned new energy in this effort. And here they come, marching straight down M Street. Okay, we're on M and 46th Street now.
We got our own community out here protecting and serving us. Actually protecting and serving us. Let's get to the middle. Let's get to the middle. Let's circle. Let's get to the middle. Look at this. Driving on.
they're gonna gather and block the intersection of M and 46th Street. There's one couple of cars that apparently think they're going to get through. I don't think that's going to work for them. Yeah, the police haven't blocked the street off, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cars lined up trying to get through.
How are they protecting us? If they're killing us. How are they protecting us? If they're killing us. How are they protecting us? If they're killing us. How are they protecting us? If they're killing us. How are they protecting us? If they're killing us. All right. So I just want to know if the police got a call out here to one of these backyards tonight, and one of these white men in a suit is posted up on his cell phone. Are these pigs going to think that's a gun? Are they going to go on his cell phone and see how his relationship is with his baby mama? Are they going to be asking on the cocaine that he was snorting? Because we know what these businessmen be doing up in their offices.
Protesters are asking a question they've been asking for a long time. What would happen if an incident like what happened to Stephon Clark had occurred in a neighborhood like this, where the suspect in the backyard was white? Would he have ended up being shot? They clearly don't think that's the case.
Why are all these white-collar criminals sitting in here rich off of all tax dollars? Why is it that these are the only people that City Hall will represent? These are all rhetorical questions because we know what this system is. We know that it serves all these white supremacists. We know that this was not here before 1848. We know that California is a product of genocide and the gold rush. So how is it we can sit in the City Hall and let that seal of Sacramento that's founded on the Native Americans, how do we recognize that as a legitimate authority? And then they come into our backyards and call us criminals. Well, we out here in y'all backyard today, right? Well, I mean, we ain't in your backyard yet, but we out here in the streets, because whose streets?
Our streets.
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 All right, so I want to open it up. If anybody got something to say real quick. I said my piece, we want to open it up to the community. If anybody got some burning words, take your last chance, if not, no pressure. But yeah, brother, say it. Say it, brother. Thank you.
Boy, there's a heavy police presence behind them on M Street. A lot of bicycle cops. A lot of police cars, and there's a lot of traffic. This is a busy street in this residential neighborhood, but these cars aren't going anywhere.
And then we had the city council vote just last week to decide that they were going to crack down on illegal marijuana operations.
Get the fuck out
well,
of here,
guess
bro.
what? The illegal marijuana operations look just like you and I.
Exactly.
While those who are getting rich right now are not afraid to be all out in the open. Not in the legal market. They haven't been afraid in the illegal market either. As a matter of fact, they've been getting rich for decades off of illegal weed while we've been getting killed and murdered.
Nancy Teichert, you're live on the Sacramento Bee, Nancy. What are you
I'm
doing
live.
out here?
I'm out here with my dog recording all this activity.
Why?
Because we're concerned about justice and protests and Black Lives Matter.
When did you hear this was going to happen?
Our next door neighbor notification came, and some friends of ours called and warned that there were people coming toward our house and we should lock our doors and turn off lights. And so my dog and I came out to visit everybody.
You had neighbors tell you to lock your doors?
Yes.
Because the people I've talked to seem perfectly okay with this.
Well, that's why I'm here videotaping to send it in. I was going to send it into the Sacramento Bee, but now I feel no need to.
Well, I mean, do you have any kind of concern about it moving to your neighborhood?
Absolutely not.
You know, I mean,
I think this is a serious issue that needs to be open to public debate, and they can march wherever they want. We have a right to free speech.
okay, thanks. Have a good night. Say hi to Fred.
I will.
Black Lives Matter! I had to send stuff in. That was it.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Let's try to see something.
Black Lives Matter!
Okay, we're walking, I guess we're still on 47th Street? 46th Street, excuse me.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
This is a neighborhood that at Christmas every year goes all out with the decorations. Everybody in town drives through here to see the decorations because the homes are huge. They're some of the nicest homes in town. And it sounds like, from what resident Nancy Teichert told me just a few moments ago, that some people were calling neighbors saying, lock your doors, turn off your lights, and hide. But the residents we've seen, there's only been a few, have come out to show their support and to videotape this group as it marches down the street. They're chanting, "It's a phone, not a gun," a nod to the fact that the cops who shot Stephon Clark said they thought he had a gun. Instead, he had a cell phone. The district attorney's investigation indicated that Clark had taken what they refer to as a shooting stance and was holding the phone, and that's how he ended up being shot. The activists aren't buying that. This neighborhood is really dark. They use the old-fashioned street lights that must have been here for decades, and a lot of them are turned off. I don't know if that's because of this march or not, but there's very little light here.
And what do we want? And when do we want it? And if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, and what do we want? And when do we want it? And if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, and what do we want? And when do we want it? And if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, I said if we don't get it, I said if we don't get it, I said if we don't get it, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down.
Well, I think we're approaching J Street, and you'll never see J Street like this. There's not a single car, so obviously the police have blocked it off because they figured the protesters were coming here.
quick. My bad. All right, let's try it one more time. Who's 40s? Who's 40s?
Yeah, this street is totally blocked off in both directions. J Street is totally devoid of traffic. The cops are diverting cars. This is a very, very busy street, typically. The crowd is chanting, whose 40s are 40s, for the Fab Forties, as the neighborhood is known. Okay, now we're heading west down J Street. If they keep here, that'll take us right into Midtown. It'll also take us over toward the Business 80 freeway. Last year, the protesters tried to get onto it, but were stopped at the very last minute by CHP officers who raced to the scene and stopped them from getting on the on-ramp. Prior to that, protesters had gotten onto Interstate 5 and shut it down in the middle of a busy weekday afternoon. Since that occurred, the CHP has made keeping the freeways open a real priority. Every time there's a march downtown, you can find dozens of CHP cruisers parked near the I Street on-ramp to I-5. And they have had numerous standoffs with protesters where they just stood shoulder to shoulder and stopped them from getting onto the ramp. There's still a ways to go before we get near Business 80, but we're heading in that direction. So if you're trying to get home on J Street from the downtown area, that's not a good idea. Find another route. Folsom Boulevard should be open now because the entire group of marchers is here. Hands up, don't shoot is what they're chanting as they're marching toward 45th Street, west on J. There's still a helicopter hovering overhead, or as the marchers refer to it, a ghetto bird. I don't think it's a police helicopter, though. I think it's a news chopper. Okay, they're turning onto 45th Street, heading southbound on 45th from J. There's a man standing here on his corner, flipping the bird to them. He's walking in front of them, flipping the bird. Hey, can we ask you what your message is for the marchers?
What's your problem?
I'm with the Sacramento Bee.
Fuck off.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it. That gentleman didn't care to speak with us. He's standing on the corner, flipping off the marchers and cursing at us.
You want me to tell you again?
Yeah, you can tell me whatever you like, sir. I just asked you a question.
Are you live right now?
We are live right now.
Get off my fucking property.
I'm not on your property, sir. I'm on a sidewalk.
What was that?
This guy obviously is looking for a confrontation. So yeah, that helicopter, I'm told by one of our law enforcement friends that it's KCRA. This gentleman we just ran into is the first one I've seen in this neighborhood who was objecting to their presence. He was standing on the corner.
We're going to go ahead and make another quick stop.
He was standing on the corner, flipping the bird at the marchers. And when we asked him politely if he wanted to say anything, he cursed at us and demanded that we get off his property. We weren't on his property. We were on a public sidewalk. He was very angry, very angry.
Just a couple quick things, folks. We appreciate all the allies that are here. Let's make sure that we have black folks leading this movement right now. So just make sure you know where you are. So we appreciate y'all. Just a little spatial awareness. Where we need you is on the sides where these white supremacist folks have been coming for us. So just go ahead and stand on those sides. Make sure you're helping to offer that protection, but make sure black folks are in the front of this black movement, okay? All right. So we're going to take a pause right here. If anyone wants to come up and let ESAC know why we came to their front door today, you're welcome to come here and let us, let's go. My sister's ready. All right. Hello, East Sacramento. You may not know me, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kaya Osborne, a.k.a. Calypso, a.k.a. the Sacramento Youth Pride Laureate, and I need you to wake the fuck up! Wake up! Wake up! I have black ancestry, obviously, and indigenous ancestry. There's no way these houses were not built on the blood of my ancestors and their bones! The woman who gave birth to my great-great-great-grandfather.
Okay, the angry gentleman, the angry gentleman who was cursing at us has come back out of his house, and now he's talking to police officers on his front stoop. I'm going to see what may be going on with him. There's a line of bicycle cops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at least, who are parked right in front of his house. And there's a bicycle officer up on the sidewalk speaking with him and a woman, apparently his wife. He evidently does not care to have these marchers in his neighborhood, much less the press in his neighborhood. Interesting that the angriest comment we've gotten is from a resident of the neighborhood.
They didn't kill just a student, just a son, just a brother. Y'all motherfuckers don't know if he could have been the next goddamn president. And you'll never know. He could have been an artist, a rapper, a basketball player, or something you crackers consider more respectable, like a lawyer, a doctor, a politician. He could have been any of that, but we'll never know. His kids will never know. His fiance will never know. His brother will never know. Neither will his mother or his father or anyone else's lives he could have touched, because you took that from him. You took that from him, and you went home, and you tucked yourself in at night, and you slept, probably like a fucking baby.
So if you're listening to this live stream, you're going to hear a lot of cursing, as you did from this neighborhood resident and now some of these speakers. That's the way some of these marches have gone.
I am here to make sure that you never sleep peacefully again until my kids, my unborn kids, have a future as bright as yours. Kaya Osborne, I'm so sorry. I don't know if I can come out with that same energy, okay? But we gon' hear me. It does. Oh, definitely. Okay, so first of all, I need to remind you, and I want to remind all these houses, so we need to wake them up. What time is it? Can someone tell me the time? It's early as fuck. Okay, it's 7:30, niggas. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. So, Black Lives. Black Lives. folks? You ain't going, business ain't usual. No, baby. I'ma disturb your entire day. You didn't kill somebody. You didn't just kill somebody. You killed another black man, and I'm fucking tired. I'm tired of all your asses! So you don't get no motherfucking sleep, okay? Understand? I'ma keep hounding y'all. Y'all don't understand. This is my fucking life duty. Black Lives Matter is my fucking duty, and I'll hunt all you motherfuckers down that want to fucking take me on, okay? So again, remind them, Black Lives! Black Lives! Black Lives! Black Lives! Black Lives! Black Lives! Black Lives matter. We're going to keep it moving in just a second here. We just want to remind y'all today is about disruption. Can y'all say it with me? Disruption! 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 So if you go to sleep tonight, you don't have to tell your 2 children why black people are on their streets screaming, I didn't do my job tonight. 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 The point of why we're here is to disrupt. I don't want things to be normal. Today's not a normal day. None of us were normal today. We didn't wake up normal. Since that death, no one has woken up and it's just been normal. It hasn't been normal. It hasn't been okay. A year later, we're still not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. So what we're going to do today as black folks, we're not here to tear your houses down, though some would argue it's warranted. Some would argue it's warranted. We're going to talk about that later. What we're here to do today is to disrupt. So I want to encourage you all to continue to disrupt. Disruption! 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 Today ain't normal. Today ain't normal. So as we proceed, what we're going to do, make sure that you are behind this mic. We want to make sure that this mic is in front so it can be heard. Let y'all know where we need y'all today. We just ask that you respect it. Black folks, make sure you take your spot in the front. This is our movement. Let's go.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No racist!
No peace!
No justice!
Okay, the marchers are moving south on 46th Street. Looks like they're walking back toward M Street. They're flanked on both sides of the march by a large number of police officers on bicycles. Basically, what those officers are doing is traffic control to make sure that no cars get in here. It's really striking how few residents are out watching this. There's a handful. Most of them have been friendly, except for the one gentleman in the large White House who flipped off the crowd and yelled at everyone. But most of the residents appear to have decided just to stay inside and out of sight.
Shut
Okay, we're still moving down 46th Street. We're almost back to M. The question is, are they going to turn? They're going to walk back to Folsom Boulevard? We were told initially this march would go for a couple of hours and that it would not proceed to the arena where there's a basketball game going on. And folks here at the march told us they didn't think that that was the intent either. So I think the focus is this neighborhood and the people who live in it. Given where they are and the time of night, it really hasn't been that disruptive. It wasn't like some of the protest marches downtown where they would block traffic directly at rush hour and just shut downtown down completely. They would step in front of RT light rail trains, stop those, just completely congest the areas. But as one of the speakers said earlier, we've done that. We're going to try something new, and so this is what they're trying. All right, they're marching down M Street to the west. Nope, that was a feint. They're staying on 46th and continuing back toward Folsom Boulevard. This is not a spontaneous protest like some of the earlier ones last year. This is highly organized, all the way down to the loudspeakers they've got that they're pushing on a wheelchair. They've got bull horns. They're taking turns speaking. They have flyers with Stephon Clark's photo on them that they've distributed to all the members of the group. They put a lot of planning into this, obviously. I think we're coming back up on Folsom Boulevard. It's hard to tell because it's completely dead There are no lights. There's no traffic, which means the officers have diverted traffic. There's a car going by, so somebody has gotten through. But there's a group of bicycle cops here ready to shut it down. There's still traffic moving on Folsom Boulevard. The cops are trying to wave them through, and now they've shut it down. Folsom is closed at 45th Street, so it looks like it's closed down at probably about 43rd Street to the west and 47th or so. So it looks like this group is returning to Trader Joe's where they started. Looks like they're going to turn left, cross onto Folsom Boulevard, and head back up to the Trader Joe's where this began. I think we've been going for about an hour and a half so far. They estimated they'd march for about 2 hours, but now they've turned the other way. They're heading west on Folsom. I think they're sort of toying with the officers to keep them off balance about which direction they're going. So now we're heading west on Folsom Boulevard, back toward the Midtown area. You never realize how dark this street is until you walk down the middle of it in the night. There are no street lights, and without any car lights, the only illumination we've got are some of the TV cameras, and of course the lights that the bicycle cops have on their bicycles. Police are still diverting traffic off this road. Looks like probably down at 43rd Street. And now they're going to have to come up with a new plan because the marchers are walking straight toward them. So we're approaching 43rd Street on Folsom Boulevard. They're walking west toward the East Lawn Cemetery. And the police have shut traffic down now, back in the 30s, it looks like, 36th Street maybe. The group shows no sign of tiring or wanting to stop. Some of these marches have gone for hours and hours and hours, I was out with reporter Ryan Sabalo at one of them and some photographers. I think Hector was with us until 3 or 4 in the morning. So there's just no telling. Okay, they're turning. They're decided to block the intersection of 43rd and Folsom, directly in front of the entrance to the East Lawn Cemetery, East Lawn Memorial Park. The crowd doesn't look like it's lost anybody. It's got to be 70, 80 people at least. Hard to tell because it's so dark out here. The interesting thing about these protest marches is how diverse the groups have always been. There have been young and old, black and white, Latino. It's not just an African-American march, and none of them ever have been. In fact, it's gotten to the point where repeatedly during this march and past marches, the black activist members have asked whites and others to hold back so that the march can be led by African-American marchers. I've seen people pushing baby carriages at these things. You name it. There's no way to categorize this as just, one segment of society. It's a lot like Sacramento itself. It's a very diverse group of people. The only flaw in the strategy is stopping here is there's no one really to see them. I mean, they're standing next to a cemetery wall on one side and some largely darkened houses on the other.
we want her either to completely resign or we want to recall her. Because what she did on Saturday was unconscionable. Let me remind her of her job. Her job was to investigate whether or not a crime was committed. She said it 100 times during her press conference. But guess what? Guess what? The crime she investigated should have involved the officers.
Say that.
And it didn't.
Yes, say that.
She investigated everybody but who she should have. Everybody but the two people with guns who used them. Everybody. So we want her to either resign or be recalled. Demand number 4 is stop over-policing our neighborhoods. We don't want these school resource officers. Stop the prison to pipeline. The school to prison pipeline. Stop it. Stop criminalizing our kids. And demand number 5 is that we want support for AB 392 so that this won't happen again. We want support for AB 392. AB 392. AB 392. AB 392. AB 392. We can implement that locally before the state does it. So let's make that happen. Those are our 5 demands. AB 392. Fire the officers. The DA resigns. Come on, y'all. This is what we need. All right. We're going to the right. To the left. Our left. Come on.
Okay, they're going to walk up 43rd Street through the neighborhood. From Folsom Boulevard toward M Street. There's nobody out on this street at all. Nobody on the porches looking. Nobody following along. It's very quiet. There is a car coming toward us, so it looks as though the police have let someone through inadvertently. And he suddenly stopped. I guess he's seen the large crowd of people. Yeah, now he's backing up. There's another car behind him, so the police have not blocked this street off. They obviously didn't expect this march to come in this direction. There's This is a supporter. This woman in the car with her small child is waving in support.
What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? When Sacramento is under attack, what do we do? When Sacramento is under attack, what do we do? When black lives are under attack, what do we do? When black lives are under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
AB 392 is pending legislation in the Assembly that would greatly restrict the use of force by officers. In essence, it would require that the use of deadly force is only done as a last resort. Right now, officers legally can use deadly force if they have a reasonable fear for their safety or the safety of others. These marchers want to change that to restrict when police officers can use deadly force. So AB 392 has become a rallying call for them in light of the district attorney's decision Saturday that legally she could not charge the officers. Coming up on 8 o'clock, so we're more than an hour and a half into this march. We're approaching M Street again. The police have blocked off traffic over at J. You can see them. It looks like we're marching past M Street toward J Street again. Nope, they're stopping in the intersection here at M. I'm in 43rd.
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Black people, how we doing? We don't make it to East Sac. We don't make it to East Sac too frequently now, do we? How we doing? These is our streets today. Our good sister Flo came up and talked about how Stephon Clark's death is a public health issue, but I'm here to appeal to you as an educator and say that this is an issue within our education system as well. I believe black women are the lead of all black movements. And with that, I believe it's important that we reflect on some of our sister's words. The good sister Ella Jo Baker said what? Until the killing of black men, black women's sons is as important as the killing of white men. Yes. White mother sons. That's why we're here in East Sac today. That's right. These white mothers in these houses, they don't know what it's like to lose a child. That's right. We're here because they need to feel a fraction of our pain, a fraction of our discomfort. That's right. They don't know what it's like to be gunned down in the backyard of their nana and their granny's backyard. Tell them. We're in your backyard today. That's right. We're in your backyard today, and I got another bone to pick, y'all. I got another bone to pick, because I come from a social justice pedagogy. The classrooms is in the streets today. And when I tell you I go to school, and them babies have student resource officers, cops in the schools. When I tell you black girls and black boys and black trans children in our schools are not comfortable because they fear the student resource officers. They got to get out of our schools. If they can't be accountable, if they want to be white supremacists and bigots, if they don't want to be transparent, if they don't want to de-escalate, they for damn sure shouldn't be in our schools or in our community. Get these children out of our school. And we have the audacity to be in a school district that is $35 million in debt. And they just renewed the contract to have more cops in our schools. Schools that are less than 2 miles away from where Stephon Clark was gunned down at. The same cops. They rotate them in and out of the schools and out of the police departments. They have got to go. I am tired of black children not having black futures. I am tired of having to think about and
know, love to say, you know, we ain't got no jobs, we ain't working. We here today in the evening, y'all. This is part 2 of the work. This is part 2 of the work. Sister Asada said what? It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. 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 We must love and protect one another. 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 Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, we must love and protect one another. We must love and protect one another. You have nothing to lose but your chains. You have nothing to lose but your chains. This is our job. This is our profession. You said you spent your whole life. This is our job. These are our streets. This is our desk. This is our cubicle. This is our classroom. Our freedom is here. We got work to do, y'all. We got work to do. Love and protect one another. We got work to do. I come from the black medical tradition. I come from the black church and I come the spirit, motherfucker. Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Hey, I hit this mic right after my own favorite teacher, y'all. This got to lead by example. We have to lead by example. This is my educator. These are my teachers. These are my leaders. These are my sisters and brothers. So I'm going to come touch and do what I do best. They kill our sisters. They kill our brothers. So no, y'all cannot sleep tonight. This is for my mothers who can't hold their babies late at night. Watch the media, take their picture for a storyline, but we tired of calling police. All the riots, all the riots. Crime. Shut it down with hell aside. All my people hit the streets like Martin for our civil rights. Marching just to save a life. Hopefully we'll come tonight. All my people come together, time we treat each other right. They gon' flip the focus, trying to make a movie forward. Stay recording and exploiting for the camera glory. Ain't nobody praying for me, no. I can't watch the video. I won't go, I won't wait, cause tomorrow is today. Who's streets? Our streets. Who's streets? Our streets. Where we going? Not home. 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 Sacramento, we cannot let this shit slide. We cannot let this shit slide. Every day after today is gonna be hell until I get this shit right. This is my city. Half these bitch ass cats that work here don't even live out here and not from out here. We from out here, boys. Fuck the police. Fuck the police.
All right, y'all, we gonna keep marching. We going to the hospital, y'all.
Okay, they're marching down toward J Street.
No justice. No peace. No justice.
And the hospital on J Street, they say. So we'll see how that works out.
No killer. No justice. No racist. No justice. No racist. Who's street?
As loud as these protests are and animated as the activists are, they're completely peaceful. They're, except for some very isolated incidents last year where a couple of car windows got broken and where some Antifa infiltrators tried to take reporters' gear. These protests are completely peaceful. They're just loud, and I guess that's the point of it. So far during this march, there's been no effort to enter any business. They didn't walk into Trader Joe's, anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get into close to this hospital, what their plan is.
Stephon Clark. Stephon Clark. Stephon Clark. Stephon Clark.
It's a really bad night to be trying to take J Street or Folsom because they've had to shut the streets down, both of them, repeatedly, as the group has moved back and forth between Folsom and J Street, winding their way through the narrow streets of the Fab Forties. They're just a couple minutes away from J Street. They get there and turn left, and we're going to be walking toward the hospital over there. Hey folks, can I ask you what you think of this? We're at the Sacramento Bee. You're on live.
I'm thinking I want to listen to what they have to say.
Did you know that was coming? You know what it's about, though, right?
Yes.
Do you have a position on what they're after?
Right now, I'm just watching right now. Thanks.
Thanks. March is trying to get them to join up. Those folks don't really want to talk. There's some other residents expressing support with raised fists.
Yeah! They're ready. They're ready. They're ready. Come on, they're joining us, baby. They're joining us, baby. There you go. He's ready. He's ready. He's ready. There you go. Bring us together, baby. Come join us. There you go. He's over there gonna join us. There you go, baby. Yes, yes. They ain't all against us. You already know. They ain't all against us, huh? Yeah. Come on, baby.
Hey, can we ask you folks about this? We're with the Bee. You're on live right now.
Sure.
You're obviously in support of what they're doing?
I totally understand the anger around it, for sure.
Uh-huh. Did you know they were coming?
Didn't. It was a surprise, yeah.
So what, you just heard them and came out?
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard not to hear them.
Okay. A lot of people got warnings, I guess, on Nextdoor or calls from their neighbors saying,
Yeah,
stay
it was a surprise to
inside,
us,
turn off
but
your
yeah.
lights.
Yes.
You're obviously not concerned about that.
Well, you see something like this in your front yard and you want to know, and it's, like I said, the anger is understandable, for sure.
Do you have you been following the story? Do you have a position on...
It's hard not to, for sure. It's hard not to. I mean, other than the fact of just the tragedy of somebody losing their life in that manner, it's a hard story not to follow, for sure, though.
Have you lived here long?
20 years, yeah.
Never seen anything like this come through your neighborhood?
No, absolutely not. But, yeah.
What's your name, sir?
Bruce.
What's your last name, Bruce?
Griesenbeck.
How do you spell that?
Griesenbeck.
Okay, so you guys didn't know anything about this. It looks like your wife or whoever let one of them in to use a restroom or
Sure,
something.
yeah. Somebody needs to use the bathroom, and you know, it's a human thing.
There's some other residents weren't as happy about it on some other streets,
yeah.
but, you know.
Yeah. No.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Thanks. There's some residents who have absolutely no problem with this march. There's a marcher who went and shook his hand and thanked him for what he just told us. So you've got mixed emotions here about what these marchers are doing in this neighborhood, and now they've gone up and they've turned west onto J Street. They're marching toward the hospital. The police are following closely behind in SUVs and bicycles. You can hear the marchers set off car alarms as they walk down the middle of J Street, which again is completely closed off. So we're walking west on J Street. They've passed 42nd Street now. And looks like they plan to continue down J Street. Now they're coming up on 41st Street, marching west on J. And now they're almost to Mercy Hospital. So we'll see if they're going to walk by Mercy or if they have plans out in front of it. I don't see any police presence in the Mercy Hospital parking lot or entryway. There's a large number of bicycle officers going down J Street, but they're not out blocking entry to the hospital. There is one individual who's either security guard or police officer standing in front of one of the doors, but if there's a large contingent, they're not apparent. So here they are at 40th and J Street, directly in front of the hospital. This crowd is not losing any of its steam. It's extremely agitated and loud, but peaceful, as they always have been. They've decided to stop in front of Mercy Hospital, block the street, and push their message that, as they say, being black in America is a public health concern. So here they are in front of the hospital.
Public health
There's 3 young ladies from the protest march approaching the security officer. I imagine they're asking to use the restroom, and they're being directed over toward the main entrance. We just saw a protester walk up to a resident over on 43rd Street, and they gladly took them in and allowed them to use their restroom in their home. They said they don't have any problem with the march and felt like they were just doing the right thing by standing out in support of them and their right to free speech. Looks like the young ladies are being directed where they can go in the hospital area where there might be some restrooms. How it looks from here, so it's not like they've locked the hospital down or anything. Yeah, Stephon Clark is here, the brother of Stephon Clark. I think he's been marching with the whole...
The policing styles that they got in your neighborhood is different than the policing styles.
This is Stephon right here.
In this neighborhood, they say, oh, okay, let me see your hand. But in Stephon's neighborhood, they just bust 20 times. Say that. And shoot to kill and ask questions later. We're about to do something right now, and this is spontaneous. And if you're with us right now, I want y'all to join me right now before these motherfucking police try to do some slick shit. I'm gonna hand this microphone to my brother right here who's gonna come with an announcement. What's happening? Hey, we here today because the Sacramento Police Department killed another one of our black citizens. That's what we're here for, right? And on Saturday, DA Schubert came through and said some bullshit disrespectfully. We expected DA Schubert to come through and not convict the officer. But what we did not expect is for DA Schubert to come through and convict Stephon Clark of his own murder. Now, what happened on Saturday is DA Schubert came with a narrative, right? She came with a narrative. But that's all it is a narrative. And when these DAs and these prosecutors and the city and the police come with their narrative, it's our duty to challenge their narrative. Right? I can't hear y'all. It's our duty to challenge their narrative. Right? Now, when DA Schubert came through, and I'm going to make this quick because we got something to do. But when DA Schubert came through on Saturday with her interview, her job was to find out if officers committed a crime. The basis of that crime was evaluating the policy that officers are lawful to use deadly force if they fear for that, if they reasonably and if they honestly and reasonably fear that their lives or someone else's lives are in imminent danger, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, if you watch that interview, DA Schubert you. We're gonna finish up. But we know this, right? We know that when pigs are out here kicking and punching and pushing the flesh of black women and men's head into the concrete, what do they yell? They yell, stop resisting. Well, they got their foot in the backs of black women's heads on the concrete. They say stop resisting. And it's known that before they open fire, that their training is to tell them to yell gun, 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 gun. This is training, and we know this. This has been put on camera. We got plenty of examples of it. So this spontaneous conversation that they're talking about is not objective. And the idea that a flash, that officers seen a muzzle flash or the reflection of a flash of a metal gun on camera, they didn't say none of that on camera. All of this came after cameras were muted and they had their own interviews with officers. We want to know what the spontaneous conversation was when those cameras was muted. We want to know what conversations took place then. That's why we out here. We have to counter their narrative. We have to create our own narrative. And out here, we is at a mercy hospital.
Can we talk for a sec?
We ain't got no mercy.
Hospitals is here to voice and check health concerns. Now, the Black Panther Party came 50 years ago with guns blazed at the city capitol. What was their concern? Speak to me, I call back. What was their concern? The Black Panther Party came to the capitol with guns blazed concerned about an issue. What was it? It was police murder. It was police getting away with murder. And 50 years later, we should not still be talking about and complaining about the same issue and demanding justice. That's why we're out here tonight. What's his name? What's his name? Say his name. Say his name.
Okay, it looks like we're moving down 40th Street, back toward M Street, away from the hospital.
Who do we believe? Say his name. Say his name. What's his name? What's his name? Scream his name. Scream his name. Say his name. Say his name. When black folks are under attack.
Watch out.
Stephon Clark. I support him. I live this way. Just wait. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Sir, please wait. Do not touch me. Don't touch me. You don't know. Just back up. Hey, just back up. Just back up. That's all. That's all. Now keep marching. We're marching. We're marching. We're marching. We're marching. Where's my daughter? We are marching. Hey, where's my daughter with me? Guys. You guys don't know what I stand for. You guys, please, you guys do not. If you touch me, don't touch me! Don't touch me! You are being violent. You touch me, grab my jacket. Hey, do not touch me!
No, I saw you. I saw you trying to grab my jacket. You were pulling my jacket. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. You were pulling my jacket. I saw you pulling my jacket. Listen. Tell him not to touch me. And her too. Tell him not to touch me. Tell him not to touch me. I will tell him. Tranny, get away from me.
Do not disperse. You may be arrested or subject to other lethal or less
Do not touch me.
Can we talk about what's going on? I'm with the bee.
I'd be able. Don't touch me.
serious injury.
Do not touch me.
Nobody's touching you, sir.
Hey, I am
We want to
here with
interview
my daughter.
you.
He tried to touch me.
I'm with the Sacramento Bee.
They were
I just want to
pulling
find
at
out
me.
what happened to you.
They have no idea what happened to me.
I can.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Andy.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to talk?
I can talk.
I'm the Sacramento Bee. Okay. I just want to know what happened.
So all we did, we came to understand. We just we're walking down here. They totally started crowding and threatening me. The people in the black masks.
Oh,
People in the black masks came up and were threatening my daughter and myself.
Why were they doing that?
Because I had a hat on.
What was your hat?
It said "Make America Great Again."
Okay. So it was a MAGA hat?
It was a MAGA hat.
In your face.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be a freedom of speech rally.
Right. Did they take your hat?
They
Yes,
did
they
take
did.
my hat.
There's
And the
a-
guy came like this at me.
Okay.
There is a man over there, and yes, he has the hat still.
He does? Where?
I have no idea. I heard him hawking up a loogie, and he was about to spit.
Was it just because of the hat, or were you?
It was just
Oh, no,
because,
it was just because of
we
the
were
hat.
standing back by the tree. We didn't say anything. I had my arm around here.
Yep.
We were just watching.
Are you okay?
We're fine. I'm a little shaken up because you have 50 people grabbing
I
at you.
understand. I understand. I've been in that situation.
I'm shaking right now.
Do you live here in the neighborhood?
Huh?
Do you live here in the neighborhood?
I have property in the neighborhood in Tahoe Park. Yes.
Can I get your name?
My name is Dan.
Dan? Can I
Dan.
get your last
That's
name?
no Dan Iverson. You know what? Dan Iverson. Fine.
Okay.
Dan Iverson.
So, I mean, did you have an opinion about these kinds of marches and what they're doing?
We
when
have
this
never been to
started?
one. My daughter is in social studies at school. We came to a community
We
situation
decided to check it out, essentially.
to check it out. I live with my wife and 2 kids. We are law-abiding. We came down here to check out a free speech. Immediately, we're surrounded by people in black masks, and then other people came up grabbing at my jacket, grabbing at my daughter, and all I said was nothing. Didn't say anything. I was like, we live in Sacramento, okay? We live here. Go home, you assholes, you fuckers, you.
That's what they were saying to you.
Yes.
And you think it was all because of the hat?
All because of the hat, obviously.
Can I just ask? I mean, I don't mean any offense.
I know. Why was I come down here wearing the hat? Because to see what would happen, you know.
We didn't
I have-
mean any harm. We didn't try to threaten. We just
Yeah.
wanted to come here, and you
Yeah.
know, it's a hat. I don't see the offense. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe Trump is bad, this and that, but I don't see why you need to be so offended over the fact that it says "Make America Great Again." It's like,
So I've been teaching my kids to respect other people's views, and this is a clear example where people. I just happened to get the hat just to show her, hey, we're going to go and do a social experiment. You have to respect what other people think, what other people say, what other people believe. If you have to go, that's fine.
No, I just don't want you to get maced out here.
Oh,
they're telling
no,
you,
no,
they're telling us to
completely.
disperse. So.
All right, let's go.
okay. Yeah,
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you.
Sure.
Trying to get through to my guy. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, so that was a man who owns property in Tahoe Park who says he came out here with his daughter just to check it out, and he was wearing a MAGA hat, and he was accosted by people in black masks, and typically that's a sign of Antifa. So those are the folks I've run into at these protests previously who've caused us the most problems. They've grabbed at us. And I have seen him in the crowd. It sounds like they took his MAGA hat. These officers were threatening to arrest and mace and tase us if we didn't get out of that intersection in front of the hospital. So we have. And the crowd has marched on. You need to. You want to keep going. You can see these officers had brought their batons out, and now they're trying to collapse them again. So that was about to get really serious, all because of a dispute over a MAGA hat. And the gentleman who was wearing the hat was making the argument that he was just coming out to show his daughter what the marches were all about, and that free speech was part of that. So we're going to walk back toward Folsom, but we're going to have to sign off for now. We're running out of juice and audio for this march. As far as I know, no one's been arrested, but the police are on foot now and are walking behind the marchers. I'm going to stick with them, and if anything happens, I'll try to come back live on my phone. So we'll be here to the end. So it's Sam Stanton and Hector Amezcua of the Sacramento Bee. We're signing off for now. I'll see if I can come back live on a different device. Thanks.